Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you had a good weekend. It was a long one. It's June 21st, summer solstice, longest day of the year up here in the northern hemisphere. We're going to talk about stars aligning. No, we're talking about GME, some SPY, Box D, Revlon, some technical analysis, some of the options. Got some weeklies. Sub up, like up, comment down. Happy money sticks around. We have a Twitter you can follow us on, as well as a Discord. Both of those are in description. Cohen tweeted actually kind of interesting. I'm not quite sure what he's getting at. Nobody sane can defend today's compensation for the corporate power brokers, most of which is risk-free. How do we get here? Not sure what the context of that is. He tweeted that right at pre-market open though, so that's also kind of interesting because he lives in Florida, I believe. That's 4 a.m. So I don't know. SPYs is starting to make the move that I was kind of calling out back here after we heard Powell. So had the little fake out to the upside, and then I think maybe a little bear trap here to the downside that set up these divergences nicely. So I was saying after this, it's like it looks like we're going to reverse. Had a little fake out, and then now I think we're starting to get the reverse. Because these divergences that we're setting up the last 2 days were pretty strong with the RSI here as well as the MACD. Now we've got bullish MACD, hourly. 4 hour didn't cross yet, but you also see the divergences here too on the 4 hour. Nice bull flag on that hourly, pretty strong looking. Powell does have is on in the morning, and I feel like if he doesn't doesn't say something crazy, which he never does, then market probably could keep rallying. He's also on, I think, the day after, so Thursday. It's not FOMC or anything, and they're not talking about I don't know, who knows what we'll talk about. But I think I'm hoping and thinking that it'll probably keep the market pretty flat, if not bullish. I think if anything, he could make this bear market rally I think we're about to see much bigger. He could make it so we do fill that gap, and if he's a little more hawkish, maybe we just come up a little bit, maybe fill one of these gaps, or maybe we fill both. Either way, I'm not sure, but I think we are due for it. You can also see that divergence here on the 4 hour. So with that bear market rally, my play for it is GME. I've seen it basically perform the best on these bear market rallies, and so there's a lot of other stuff that's kind of moving. It's getting exciting, but I've pretty much put it all into GME if this bear market rally happens, because I think it's been pretty well identified that these rips are some of the best in the market. There might be some random penny stocks here or there that do better, but not ones I'm following close enough to have a strong enough conviction on. So we'll go over the plays. I got some weeklies, and of course I have ones for next month. GameStop looks strong. I wasn't even expecting it to be quite this strong today, but with the SPY, how strong it was, this thing just gapped up and just stayed pinned for a long time. Stayed above VWAP all day, 2.5%. So it was a big day on it. So GME followed right along. No covering today, just kind of typical SLD price action. They did at one point here. They did one of their tools in their tool bag they used here to short it down. It was pretty evident. All this volume came in, they started gapping. I don't know which tool they used, but there was something they did to basically suppress the price there. It also was not following along with the SPY at that point. So pretty much pinned to the SPY until that spot, and it just kind of dropped down a little more aggressive. But yeah, very strong. So I was hoping for more of a dip today. Didn't get a dip. I did enter some plays right about here. Just seeing how I was holding up and thinking SLD period we're in, so it might not have any sort of attacks like this. This is very minor, but this was, to me, somewhat of a coordinated price suppression tactic. I wasn't sure if we're going to get that, so I entered plays here for weeklies with 175 price target. So we'll see if that plays out. That's right here. So I'm expecting or hoping for that to happen in the next 3 days. This is a short week. And hopefully it ends with the price action on GME staying really high into Friday to set up a gamma squeeze, basically. and then on to next week, and on and on and on, and into the squeeze maybe. So we'll just have to see what happens at certain resistances. There's lots of small ones. Major milestone would be that 200 at this point, since they basically shut it down last time. And I think at some point during this cycle, this pinch, I feel like RC will probably announce a split, which would possibly cause a lot more buying pressure. So it might be on, and we might be done with these cycles. These cycles are only going to keep going until they aren't going anymore, basically, till this thing is squeezed. I think we'll keep seeing these cycles until this stock has been cleansed of its corruption, basically. So at one point, we're not going to see prices like this anymore, and we will be off. And it could be this could be it. So never know until it actually happens. But everything stayed bullish. MACD never even crossed bearish that whole time. This is a long 3-day weekend. I was pretty anxious for today. Yeah, it looks good. TA on everything looks good. We've got green over the 9 now. Volume today, actually, yeah, this is great. Increasing volume. So on these green candles, volume's been increasing these last 3 days, increased each day. So that is all good. Everything looks good so far. I guess if we don't get pretty big price action tomorrow, well, it could be pushed off to really till, I suppose, till Thursday, Friday, the latest. But I'm hopeful for tomorrow. If it starts selling off tomorrow pretty good, I feel way overconfident this is bad. But anyways, if it does, then this whole thesis might not be playing out. Basically, this 200 or 175 price target. I'm a little hesitant because I'm so confident or so bullish. Like, dang it, I'm too confident in it, and that's sometimes it works and sometimes it screws you. So I'm not hedged too much to the downside. I do still have one, I think, covered call I'm rolling, but then we've got all of our theta farming accounts, and I'm fine with those, just getting the gains we get from that and not holding shares or doing long options on those. So basically, SPY, it actually set up as inverse head and shoulders too here, along with everything else. So I'm hopeful this thing fills these gaps and we have another bear market rally like we had here and here on SPY, and GME does. I'm hopeful for something more like this or even more. The fact that we're starting at such a higher point, this was a SLD period, but I think the obligations actually for this coming up the next 10-15 trading days, I think they're much larger than what they had here. So even if we get this big of a move, that would put GME quite a bit higher. I didn't look at the percentages, but I think that would be closer to that 250 spot, which is exciting. And then if you imagine, or if you calculate in the obligations are much larger here, then we're looking at, higher, 300 or so. But one step at a time. Let's look at the options. There were some other plays going on. I'm thankful for SPY that it basically had this big epic bounce today. I had rolled big positions last week on it, anticipating this reversal, and I just had to kind of follow the TA and trust my gut on it that we would bounce. I need it to follow through a little bit more, but yeah, so far this is looking good for that too. And I used SPY. I've been kind of using SPY or GME TA to go back and forth, basically, because one might front run the other. So GME stayed looking bullish through here, and SPY didn't really start looking bullish until we started seeing that RSI divergence. So that's kind of how I started to think SPY would start flipping around once GME stayed bullish. And now that SPY has kind of confirmed this reversal with today, more or less, not fully confirmed, but building this inverse head and shoulders along with these divergences now, I'm thinking, okay, this looks like we are going to have a bear market rally, and GME was calling it out basically with its bullish price action that's kind of stuck around through SPY's bearish, basically, price action and bearish TA. Oh, that was convoluted. Boxed. So I did get some of these. One of you guys mentioned it in chat, and I said, or I think you tweeted me about it. I said it was cheap when you sent it to me, and I'm like, it looks too early, and wanted to wait for price action. And then I read some DD on it, so I had it on my watch list. I was waiting for it, and then this morning it showed that it had volume and it showed that it was bullish. So jumped in on that, and I mean this thing could make a big move. It might be done today, but maybe not. I mean, we have big volume here. We've got our MACD's bullish. We've got a bear flag that's set up. Yeah, this thing might be about to make a big move. It's come down quite a bit. So got some options on that. Options, it's maybe better even do shares in this one. Hard to know. Revlon, crazy move. I'm not in it. Again, there's lots of plays that you're gonna go crazy. Kind of needle in a haystack, which ones, unless you follow one so closely like we do GameStop. So Revlon is one of those ones that's going crazy. And it still looks very good on this chart. We've got increasing volume. We've got green over the 9 now on the daily. A lot of volume. 183 million today. Holy crap. So, I mean, this thing honestly could be another Hertz where it just goes ballistic. And even bigger than GME potentially, but it's much more risky in my opinion. So I don't have a position at this point. The options are so expensive that you're not even making a whole lot on them at this point. Like they're just not moving very much because the IV's already so high. So maybe even shares on it, or if it gets a big consolidation kind of dump, then maybe options, but they'll probably still be really high IV. So this thing could settle down tomorrow, the next day. Not really sure, but it's nice. After it broke that 480, I almost got shares. And I'm like, I just need to focus on GameStop at this point. But yeah, this one, I'd say next price on that would be like 760. See what it does up there, and then I don't think it'll slow down there. 9 something. Yeah, I mean this could go crazy. So that's Revlon, and then Boxy of course looks pretty good. And then my weeklies I got on GME, 165, 175 call debit spread. If you recall, I opened up 160, I think 175 last week for weeklies that expired this week. And I opened those up on like Wednesday. I think this day I opened them up, or Thursday. And then this day, they increased 30 or 40%, and I actually closed them on Friday. So I closed them last trading day, just thinking we probably won't get a huge gap up, and we've got 3 days of theta decay. So I closed those, took profits on them, and then today was more bullish than I was really anticipating. I kind of thought we'd be a little more mellow, but the market was very bullish. So we move with SPY typically. So anyways, got back into them today for end of week. That's these ones. So down them a little bit just because I got them like here. It did settle down. The premiums were not coming down at all though, so I was like, I might as well just get into these things. It's a really wide spread too, so that's not a little bit of price action. That doesn't really matter. But there's 8,300 max gain on it. That's if we're above 175 or about 175 at expiration. And then for next, let's see, is that next? Yeah, that's the first. For July 1st, I've got probably the most exposure. Got 170, 250, 150, 175. These are spreads. 170, 195. So kind of price targets from 175 to 200 to 250. So kind of all those ranges kind of scattered around. And not to say I have to wait that long or to hit those prices before I sell or anything like that, but just exposure on up. That's kind of an easier way to do it with debit spreads, I suppose. Just long calls, honestly, that's a good way to do it also. But premiums are still pretty high, so I do spreads. And just in case this is the squeeze, more or less, we've got a couple big ones. 490, 500 call debit spreads. Those are for the July contracts, so middle Friday, which is what, the 15th? Yeah, 15th. And then 295 just long calls. These are more just kind of squeeze. If we see that 350, or if we blow past all of these price targets, these 295s will be really nice. And those are for the 8th. So basically, if we squeeze, I'll probably pick up positions as we're going up, or if it just kind of teeters at where we're at now and we start coming down, I'll probably sell off some of this. But I'm still bullish, very bullish at this point. So yeah, stoked indeed. Here's that box D call. This is actually up 150% today, but they're not moving a whole lot. Could have sold some, but it looks nice, so I'm just holding on to those. Yeah, Uber's up. Uber was up a bit. Birds had a rally. Let's see. What was that news? Oh, Facebook, I guess, is like changing their payout program or something. It's kind of bearish. This thing kind of didn't do well in that news today. And of course, Express is starting to show some action along with the other ones in the basket. Express, this looks nice. A lot of volume there. And then we've got BBBY, of course, also. I've got 7.5 calls for July 1st and 14 calls. So did this only go? This was pretty flat today, 0.3. Oh, I thought this did better. Oh well, that's what I got, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Discord. Peace out.